Senator Charles Schumer know that they need to exercise strong leadership to bring a halt to the proposed South Korea-U.S. free trade agreement as it is written. President Obama is headed to South Korea on Thursday for a gathering of the G20, and he and his trade representative Ron Kirk have made it clear that they would like to be able to finalize arrangements with South Korea to go forward with this very bad trade agreement that was originally negotiated under President Bush's administration. It, for 3 years, has been languishing because it is bad for America, and Congress has had the good sense not to act on it. But there is no way that another free trade agreement is going to help our economy. We have so many folks out of work. This is the wrong time to be trying to push through another bad trade agreement. We have some folks here today who have come out to share their perspective on why we can't go ahead with this free trade agreement. And the first person I'm going to invite to speak is Doug Bullock, and Doug is with the Albany Central Federation of Labor.
I'm also a Albany County legislator in Albany, New York, and free trade isn't fair trade. That's the sign I'm holding today, because it's really monopolistic corporate trade. When you come down to free trade, it doesn't mean anything that's free. It's free to the corporations that'll have a monopolistic hold on the markets in Korea. I'm urging people to stop the Korean free trade agreement, contact your senators, contact your congressperson, and urge them not to vote for the free trade agreement in Korea. What it's going to do is legitimize corporate control of the Korean economy. It's not going to help this economy at all. This economy is in a recession. We're still in the Great Recession of 2010, and that's not going to help us at all in terms of creating jobs here at home. What it's going to do is be another outlet for jobs to go overseas, and a massive outlet for jobs to go overseas, all on behalf of the low wage seeking corporate monopolies that are over in Korea right now. They are international corporations. They dominate the market. It's not fair trade. Free trade is anything but free, so I urge people to come out and campaign, tell your congressman, tell your senator, no Korean free trade agreement.
The next person that we welcome is Mike Keenan, and Mike is the president of the Troy Area Labor Council.
Good afternoon. The AFL-CIO is opposed to the U.S.-Korea trade agreement because ever since NAFTA was passed in the 90s, we've lost almost 5 million manufacturing jobs. That was the base of our economy. Until we can restore those jobs by doing away with laws like NAFTA, we will keep losing more and more of our good living wage jobs to overseas. In particular, President Obama promised us that he would require environmental and labor standards in these laws, and this particular one lacks all of them, so we hope that it is not supported by Congress. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Mark Schaefer, and Mark is with the State Board of Citizen Action of New York State and a member of the Capital Region Alliance for Fair Trade.
We want to oppose the Korean trade agreement in its current form and all agreements based on the NAFTA model. We have a lot of experience now with NAFTA. The studies indicate that hundreds of thousands to maybe over 1 million manufacturing jobs have been lost, and it's not the case that this is just allows these third world countries to develop. What we have is U.S.-based transnational corporations with no loyalty other than to the almighty dollar, playing the working people against each other in what we call the race to the bottom, where these corporations, under these agreements, which are not free trade at all, they're corporate managed trade. We are not against trade. We're in favor of fair trade that does not undermine wages, lower U.S. wages in the direction of Mexico and China, but allows working people the right to organize all over the world so we can raise wages around the world, protect environmental standards, protect food safety standards, protect health standards, and defend the democratic process rather than have decisions made by secret tribunals. So we want basically to globalize in a democratic way, to raise standards around the world, not lower them to the bottom. And that should apply to new proposed agreements like the Korea FTA, as well as to existing agreements like NAFTA and WTO. All the polls indicate that the majority of the public supports the fair trade position and not the corporate managed so-called free trade policies. Thank you.
Thank you. So we got a lot of folks out here today. We've got representatives from the Alliance for Democracy. We've got folks from PEF, the Public Employees Federation. We've got people from Glens Falls Citizens for Peace. We've got folks from Veterans for Peace, the Troy Area Labor Council, the Albany Central Federation of Labor. So our coalition is working with New York Citizens Trade Campaign to stop this terrible free trade agreement from going through with South Korea. President Obama, who's going to be in South Korea this Thursday, thinks it would be good for America. He had an op-ed in the New York Times suggesting that more of our exports will be received into South Korea and that will help our economy, but it doesn't work. The analogy that I use is if I start exercising to burn calories, but then I also start eating tons and tons of Twinkies every day, there's no net gain for my health. And the idea that South Korea is going to take in enough of our exports to make up for the imports that we'll be taking in from their country, the math doesn't work. Our trade deficit with South Korea will double in 7 years, and South Korea is not going to take our beef. They have not taken our beef ever since we had an outbreak of mad cow disease. They're not going to take our cars. For every 1,000 Hyundais and Kias that are sold in the United States, one United States manufactured automobile is sold in South Korea, and that's not going to change. And factories in South Korea are going to be able to offer international corporations a very cushy tax arrangement where they're not paying taxes, so it's more incentives for international companies to behave badly, to move our manufacturing and agricultural jobs to South Korea. So not only are we going to be losing more jobs to offshoring, but we're going to lose those tax dollars here in the United States. If you'd like more information, please visit New York Citizens Trade Campaign at www.nyfairtrade.org. That's www.nyfairtrade.org. Now is the time to urge your elected officials to help President Obama keep his campaign promises. He campaigned on a trade reform platform promising he would never do this. We need to help him keep his promises. Thank you all for coming out.